Swarmos are quite safe behind that corner, but they've got to be very careful as, well, Welmu is still pressing on with a lot of firepower from those Colossi, killing off static defense. What is he waiting for?
It's just 17 Swarmos because he lost a fair amount, I think, on the retreat. Like, you feel the difference between 17 and 21 Swarmos while the Colossus are going for it. He's killing the rocks. It's beautiful.
Locust, you're not going to be able to get up there anymore, but he did actually separate two Swarmos off to actually get that Nexus up to the top. That fell down, but also the fourth base for Golden also falls. Here's some Abduct trying to get some more of these Colossi with the Corruptor numbers that he has, and Welmu is kind of scrambling to be able to defend this entire army. He's kind of stuck because he lost his Mothership Core.
Yeah, he lost his Mothership Core. He's down to 400 minerals. He's going to lose every single Colossus here.
Not acceptable. He can't be losing these Colossus at this point, because once they're all dead, the Swarmos can move into an aggressive position.
But there's no Observer. All the units have been onto the Swarmos, but the Observer died. 12 Mutalisks on production, so we will finally see the switch to Mutalisks. I was wondering for that the whole time, because he had such a big bank.
Yeah.
And he was losing Swarmos, like the way it felt like he wanted to give up supply. But apparently, I think he didn't want to. He just didn't use his Vipers for a long time. 12 Mutas on the way, 3 upgrades, double Spire once again. And Velmo is in a very, very tough position. I almost would say he can't really come back from this anymore.
Yeah, 126 army supply against 51 here. All he has is pure gateway units to really hold on against this. And he's going to be losing his Nexus in the mid pretty soon once the next Locust wave comes along. And the Mutalisks are going to cause him a huge headache as well. He has anti-air of 2 Archons and 4 Stalkers. They could just engage straight up and kill off this army.
The Mutants have to be a little bit careful, I'd say, but the Locusts are nearby, so they will be able to clean up all the Stalkers. The Archons are trying to morph in, but it seems to be too late.
Yeah, I mean, he'll hold on for just a little bit longer in the mid, but again, Locusts continue to chase on. Mutalisks could do whatever they really wanted to in the back of his opponent's base, as for now, I mean, Golden has played out a pretty impressive series, and he's looking to just close this one out.
I look at the supply, 200 against 100. Velmo has almost no income. I think it's down, yeah, like 1k minerals, 400 gas. That's basically all he has compared to Golden's healthy income on like 2 bases.
Look how aggressive the Swarm hosts are being. Just at the top of this map now, we're saying they don't really care. They know the position that they are in, and oh boy, is it an aggressive one, as he's just going to hold on at the back with Spine Crawlers, these Archons. This is the last-ditch effort for him to do some damage in this game. And there you go, GG. Golden takes the series 2-1 to start off Group C with a bang.
Yeah, very, very strong Swarmos play by Golden. On King Sejong, we saw how strong it is if he doesn't get caught out of position, or if he doesn't lose his third hedge for basically against a rather small poke, I would call it, because the third Nexus was always behind it. So very, very strong play by him. Velmo, on the other hand, I'd say he should have won the first map, but I mean, he won the second. Pretty unexpected, I would say, because he got he caught the army out of position of Golden. And then the third map, we just saw it was an uphill battle, and he couldn't really find a way to fight against the Swarmos.
Well, really cool way to start off this group. Very, very excited, not only to be back, but to be casting games like this. As Welmu, I feel, put up a fight that I wasn't expecting either, to be honest with you. I was expecting him to be a bit more aggressive, not really take it onto that longer game, but ever the opportunist is what I like to call Welmu, as in that second game there was certainly opportunities to be taken. Yeah,
he tried to be aggressive on the first and second map. The second map the pylon was shutting down, and the third map he just decided it's probably not worth to try it again, which I think was a slight mistake, because Golden kept skipping the roaches every time.
Yeah, oh well. That does it for our first series, guys, and without further ado, let's hear from the winner, along with Paul, over for an interview.
Thank you. Yes, I am with Golden right now. I think we'll nickname Swarm hosts Golden hosts. Is that all right?
That's right. Golden host.
It's all good. All 3 maps, you use Swarm hosts, and you used them along with the Vipers as well. Talk to me about why that build against Welmo. Is it against Welmo, or is it just against Protoss?
To be honest, Swarm host is really good against Protoss. Almost like Imba. So I have 100% to win against every Protoss with Swarmhost. So I didn't even practice with Swarmhost. I just practiced against MMA all the time, because I have confidence to win against Protoss with Swarmhost. So it's very nice unit.
Yeah, it does. It works really well for you. Map 1 was very good. worked fine. I think your build and the way it came through, and you were very patient. You waited because he was constantly attacking every base. Zealots in there, and he was doing all sorts of harassment. And how did you cope with that? Did you just try and stay calm?
When I lost third, I thought I lost that game, but I thought I just try. I had to try my best, then I win.
Okay. And then map 2, what went wrong? Because he played it really smart. He was very smart, but I don't want to criticize you, but do you feel like you made a mistake with the Swarm host and maybe you didn't see his army?
It was kind of Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said it and not me. And then game 3, much better. Again, went pretty much the same way. You were Swarm host, Vipers, and then you transition into Mutas at the end as well.
He doesn't have losers at the game because I harassed him with the Swarmhost, so I thought he'd never ever get Phoenix in future, so I switched it to Mutas.
Well, very well played. Congratulations. Great to have you back in WCS again, and we'll see you in the next game. Well done. Golden Air is our first winner of the day, winning with 3 maps, very tough maps against Welmo, a 2-1 victory. He'll move on to the upper bracket final. We'll see who he plays next when Mana takes on MMA. But before we get there, let's check in with Sean. Apollo is at the analysis desk right now to explain exactly how you do beat those pesky Swarm hosts.
Thank you very much, Red Eye. Welcome here to my screen of knowledge. Once again, back at the World Championship Series to take a brief look at what's the best way to deal with Swarm hosts, because the whole series was based on Swarm hosts. We saw a really good game from Welmu, game 1, where he should have closed it up earlier. Game 2, we're going to look at, and game 3, a game where he almost won as well. But let's look at the best way to deal with Swarm hosts. Excuse us for the resolution problem here, as you can see, but we should still be able to follow this game quite easily. So one of the best ways before Swarm hosts get fully loaded, when they're, 12, 16, 20, those kind of numbers in range are really difficult to deal with. So you either do what Welmo did in game number 1 to slow him down completely in the early game, or you try to be harassing all over the place to look to kill a hatchery or something along the lines. So let's take a look here of how Welmo executed, because currently, if he doesn't do damage, he's going to face what happened in game number 3. So let's play it from here. He starts up the harassment on the forward 4th base. 3 Zealots, not going to achieve much, but more importantly, pull the entire army down. The next move, Warp Prism in the main base. This is the next big point that Golden's got to think about defending. But while all of this is happening, he's trying to get everywhere. There's also an attack on the left-hand side. So 3 different types of attacks all at the same time. And this one was the successful one. 4th base couldn't really work. The main couldn't do anything either. But as you can see here, a recall after the 3rd base. So that was really, really well done. And then from this point on, when you kill a hatchery like that, it does so much damage to the Zerg production and economy that it opens up an opportunity for the Protoss to go boom for the kill, which is what we saw happening. Combined with the Swarm host out of position and Wellmoon jumping on top of them, he had a perfect amount of Colossus. He's about 7 Colossus. 7 Colossus destroy rays of Locust over and over and over. And he just hits perfectly here. This is a well-executed timing, a killer instinct, a beautiful move. And he comes in. This is really bad, obviously, to have all the Swarmos at the front. Gets about 5 or 6 killed off to begin with, and then is able to walk over the rest of the army. Vipers were late, which added to injury, unfortunately, there. And it was just well-timed from Wellmove. Great harassment, great execution on the finishing move. And he was able to pick up map number 2. But that's the kind of best way to deal with Swarmos. So if you're looking to try to stop them, maybe you can try something along the lines of this. All right, well, thank you very much for this. And I think Red Eye is somewhere, is he not? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to break or Red Eye. I don't know. We'll find out. See you in a bit.
Okay, sorry about that, Apollo. I've actually kind of sneaked off from the main studio because what we're going to do is, it's towards the end of the season. We're not going to see you until next year once this season's done. So we thought we'd kind of sneak around the studio and show you some of the backstage stuff. So we're not allowed to go in here, but come with me quickly. This is the makeup room, okay? Kalaris is busy getting topped up right now by our makeup lady, Danny, who's lovely, by the way. She's with us all season long. She's fantastic. So this is the makeup room. I just wanted to give you a quick, I'm going to get nervous. Anyway, that's sort of behind-the-scenes stuff. We're going to show you a little bit more throughout the day and tomorrow as well. If you're just joining us, you are tuned into the WCS Europe Premier League. We've had one game. Our second game is on the way, just a few minutes away. After the break, MMA will take on Mana. We'll see you then. Welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League, round of 16. Group C today, Group D tomorrow. If you weren't with us last week, you missed two fantastic groups in Group A and B. You can pop over to YouTube and collect the VODs if you wish to catch up with all of the action from last week. Today's group is Group C. Game 1 down. Colaris.
Hi.
That was highly entertaining, I think, between it. You're right there.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Highly entertaining. Best of 3 between the 3 of them. I'm not known for liking Storm host matches. I think that would be fair to say. But a couple of those were actually quite interesting in the way that the dynamics flowed, especially map 1 and 2, because you didn't quite know which way it was going to go for a while.
Yeah, and again, without some of the cool moves from Wellmu to actually prolong that, I think that it could have ended, that it could have been in a bit more of a disastrous position. So they matched up very nicely against one another, considering the style. And obviously, Wellmu's had a lot of, every Protoss has had a lot of experience against the Swarm host style, and it's very interesting to see and watch how people actually deal with it once they're presented with it.
I think, I could be wrong, but every Zerg that plays him plays Swarm hosts against him. At least they have done in the last few months. And honestly, I think they're onto something. They're like, he doesn't know how to play against it. But in map 2, he kind of showed he can play against Swarm hosts, albeit with a little bit of luck thrown in there, I guess, as well.
Yeah, there were twists and turns. Of course, there was twists and turns. But overall, I was surprised that it wasn't as more of an aggressive stance out of Wellmu. He was more than happy to actually transition on. We saw the movement from game number 1 to 2 and 3, where he was just kind of poking out a little bit, trying to find areas of aggression, but in the end, always falling back to a superior probe count to that of game number 1.
Yeah, game 1 he went air toss as well, so it was total change up from what he was doing, but didn't see any of that in game 2 and 3 really. Just do you think he got fed up with having stuff nicked all the time by the Vipers in game 1? Because I don't know how you feel about it, but looking at it, you're just thinking, wow, he's just getting everything abducted. He even lost that mothership as well for nothing. I don't think it did a single piece of damage. No,
not too much. And its utility wasn't met either, which is the most important thing about that mothership when it comes to that. So, good overall, good series by Golden, good crisis management and good ability to just make sure he can hold down in the middle.
He's a lovely guy as well to boot. He's always comes across great in the interview, so it's always nice to interview. We're going to move on to our second game now. Let's show you the bracket and show you exactly where we are right now. We've had just the one game, so if you have missed it, don't worry too much. We're still early on in the evening here in Cologne. Mana versus MMA is our next matchup. The winner will play Golden. The loser drops down to play Wellmoose. Of course, win 2 and you are through. GSL-style brackets, of course, in all of our group stages in round of 16 and round of 32. Next game, Mana versus MMA. Mana, he's, I don't know, he kind of frustrates me because you know how good he is.
Yeah.
You've watched him play and you think, God, blimey, he's got everything a player could want. He's won Premier titles in the past, albeit it's been a while. And he seems to have all the equipment. And yet somehow he gets to this stage almost every time. In fact, he's never been past round of 16. And he falls. Why? What do you think it is about his style, his gameplay? What is it?
Tough groups.
He definitely has had a few of those this time, that's for sure.
Yeah. The round of 32 this season, actually, for Mana as well, was kind of shaky. We're going through in second place, but of course he had 4GG in that group, and 4GG is looking pretty on point so far this season.
Took a map off him, though, in that group stage, and then beat Bling and Bly.
In a very unorthodox series. Between 4GG and Mana, and it could have actually gone Mana's way, all things considered. But I think this one's going to be difficult for him.
Yeah, and this time last season, of course, he played Golden for the place in the quarterfinals. It was the last game of the group, and he lost that one 2-1. So he's got Golden in the same group again. He's not going to be looking forward to that, is he?
No, not too much. I can imagine that he's probably, well, if he was wanting to go into a winners match, he would like maybe the PvP, but even the PvP is quite volatile, and considering that Wellmu is good in the matchup as well. So either way you break this group down, it's going to be difficult, I think, for Mana.
One of the things he's got going against him against MMA is that his PvT is probably his best matchup right now. So whilst others are struggling, other Protoss are struggling against Terrans recently, he seems okay with it.
He kind of... If you take 4GG, the series against 4GG as the example, again, it was a little bit weird, a little bit quirky as a series, but there was things that forced it into that position. I think actually if Mana did a similar thing in this series and kind of force it into those odd spots, maybe it could have been the best way to advance on, because MMA is a bit of a killer.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is. We're going to move on to him right now, and fresh off a DreamHack victory, which you know, when you list his Premier titles right now, he's got 7 of them. He's got an Intel Extreme Masters, he's got an MLG, he's got a DreamHack, so that's the Triple Crown, he's got all 3 of those. He's got an Iron Squid, he's got a GSL, a WCS, and a BlizzCon trophy. I mean...
It's quite a mouthful.
It is. It's quite hard to remember it all as well. He's won so many, but it's unusual, isn't it? Because most players we see sort of dominate one area or, you know, pick up like a lot of championships in one particular thing. He's never done that, but he's got almost a full house there.
Yeah, and most importantly, I mean, off the back of all of those results going on today, it's all, for him, it's all about BlizzCon, right? So he is going to be extremely, extremely hungry when it comes to this group and the oncoming WCS.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke a little bit in the pre-show with Sean. He's 17th right now. He's 16th if you add in the points he will automatically get from this group stage if he finishes last. But he doesn't want to finish last. He doesn't want to finish second either. He wants to win this group, go on through the group, get into the round of 8 and get as many points as he can from WCS Europe to ensure that when he goes to DreamHack, he doesn't have to perform specifically to a set target. I mean, right now, he has to get to the final if he goes out here, so that would be massive for him.
And overall, if you look at how MMA went through his round of 32 group, I would argue that he was in the hardest round of 32 group of all of them. He went through Yoda first.
Yeah.
The 2 TSM fellows, TCM fellows. I can't believe I just did that. Sorry, Jarrett Kale.
Yeah.
But
I was going to throw you in with Jarrett at that point as well.
No. I corrected myself very quickly, so I'm okay.
If you're listening, TSM, we wouldn't mind if you want to put a StarCraft player or a StarCraft team together. That's absolutely fine. We won't complain about
They
that.
tweeted at Don Regu, so that's kind of cool.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Anyway, so the thing is about that result is that MMA showed really, really good games against First, of all people, who was, for a very, very long time, PVT specialist. He was the man. But since this fell off. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two are going to be stacking up, because they can have 2 very, very different kind of styles actually clashing against one another.
Nothing majorly surprising. Catalina, Deadwing, Nimbus gone out of that lot. What do you expect? Foxtrot probably go as well?
Foxtrot, yeah, it could do. I think, you know, having merry-go-round open there is technical like volatility there sometimes. That could play in Mana's favor, but I mean, we'll see what he wants to go for.
It's MMA to remove, so I'm guessing Foxtrot.
Yeah.
Okay, so Foxtrot does go. So we got a fairly standard map, 3-round here: Overgrowth, Merry-Go-Round, King, Sejong. These two do have a little bit of history between them. They've actually played 15 maps between them over the years, but the majority of those were back in Wings of Liberty, where MMA actually fell down against Mana quite often. So Mana had the upper hand, but since it's Heart of the Swarm, it's been the other way round, and already twice this year, Mana's gone down to MMA. So everything points towards the Korean in this matchup. Is there any small hope that you can give the poll?
Again, I think if you can throw the balance off...
I thought you were going to say no.
No, I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going to be mean, because if I do, I know Mana will get me later on. And he won't give me any more sweets, which is bad as well. But I think if he throws the balance off, if he throws a little bit of chaos in there and kind of keeps MMA guessing, that's going to be his best bet. Because MMA, no doubt in my mind, absolutely no doubt, he's come so prepared, but he's also going to be scouting out the attempts at chaos as well. So Mana's chaos is going to have to be very chaotic.
He's very much the underdog in this group, but he's capable, and he's shown us in previous seasons that he can win these kind of tough games and he can come through. But just what does he need to do in these matchups now? I mean, in terms of mentality and approach and what have you.
Sorry, are you on about Mana here? Or?
Yeah, Mana.
Yeah, I still think it's the chaos. Again, with how he performed against 4GG, there was the option and the true ability for him to have taken those series. It was kind of close, kind of down to the wire. But MMA, he's just going to play solid. It's going to be really difficult to break him.
Okay, thank you very much, James. We'll hear from James a little bit later on, of course, and we've got more matches on the way to test his throat later on as well, so we'll see him back in the commentary box. For now, though, it's time for game number 2 of Group C, MMA versus Mana. Don't forget, social media-wise, keep interacting with the official channels at StarCraft on Twitter and /StarCraft on Facebook.com, and include, as I haven't been doing, naughty me, the hashtag #WCS if you tweet about any of the matches or the players. Let's go over to the commentary booth for game number 2 with Apollo and Hasselhobbs.
Thank you very much, Red Eye and Kolaris. And I'm very excited for this next matchup that we have. MMA versus Mana, a game that's been played multiple times over the years. I think you remember back to GSL Code S, it was played there.
Yeah.
It was also played in the very first season of the Premier League in WCS as well. And of course, they've traded many a blows and strikes to each other in the ATC, where Team Liquid fights very often against Team Acer. But they fight again once here to see who will go to the winners match. I know we talked about it just a little bit now. Give us your overall thoughts of the map pool, the map selection, these two players going head to head. I know you do favor one player over the other.
Yeah, I think MMA is the very big favorite in this game. He just came off from the DreamHack win.
Yeah.
He has incredibly good PVT. He's very solid. Like on the table they were mentioning 4GG against Mana. I'd say it's a little bit easier to play against 4GG. He's a very good player as well.
Yep.
But if you compare him to MMA, MMA is bit more to his opponents, I feel, and he looks, I think he said he's well prepared, and
he's very confident feeling today. You can just, I mean, the way that he's acting around people, we know when he's nervous. He looks like this all the time when he's a little bit worried about who he's going to play up against. But throughout the studio today, he's been waving, he's been smiling, he's been having a good old joke with everyone around.
very relaxed.
Very, very relaxed, and especially probably coming off that DreamHack wins helped a lot coming into this today. But Mana, talk to us about Mana. You've mentioned the key strengths really of MMA. What about Mana? What makes him so good? Because over the years, he actually has had a very good Protoss versus Terran.
Definitely. I think it's always has been his best matchup as far as I know, and he always says it comes down to the skill. Like, if he plays very well, he says he can beat any Terran. Maybe not any, but he has a very good shot of beating very good Korean Terrans as well. And I think he is actually going to play very straight up on the first map, and if he feels this goes completely wrong, he might have a pocket strategy. He's going for the second map. Do we have Marigo as second map?
Yes, it's the second, yes.
That would fit very well if they want to go for something like this, or if Mana wants to go for something like this.
Yeah.
Because King Sejong, you can play straight up, but you can be cheesy with Blink Stalkers as there's a lot of room to jump in.
Do you think the recent development of Protoss versus Terran, the parting style where you go for the Blink Stalkers early to the fast third, has that had an influence on Mana's playstyle recently, do you think?
I guess so, yeah. Mana said that he practiced very specific for this group. He said he didn't have the most amount of games, but it was very good practice, is what he told me. So I think he definitely had some build orders he was looking to and tried to maybe to copy them or make it work for him.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to what he will show tonight.
Well, here we are, game number one for these two players of the evening here in the World Championship Series Premier League. Within Group C, here we go, up here to the top left-hand side, playing for Team Acer, the green man from Team Acer. It's MMA. And this is a very important day for this man. You know, forget about the DreamHack win. You want to go to BlizzCon, you have to advance from today's group here. Very, very important day. But down here in the bottom right-hand side, playing for Team Liquid is the blue Protoss player. It's Mana.
The BlizzCon is a very good point. There's still a lot of pressure on MMA. Even though he just won a tournament, it's nothing you can relax on. It's even though he's smiling a lot, he's happy. I mean, obviously he won a tournament, but he still has to perform very well here. He needs the round of 8. I think then he's almost secure.
He's almost secure. He'd need at least to get some WCS points from Dream just to make sure he's safe.
Yeah. So it is a very important group for him as well.
It's a little bit sad that MMA's year hasn't been quite as successful as it was previously. He fell short in the round of 32 in Season 2 this year and didn't really perform at the DreamHacks he traveled to either. And that kind of put him in the position he's in today where he needs the points. But good recovery at DreamHack Moscow to be able to get those points back in the bag. And maybe we'll see if he continues that on tier today.
Yeah, that's true. He has been at one of the IEMs, right? And dropped out
quite early. He was played in Shenzhen and lost in the group stage. He won the qualifier for that, got first place in the qualifier.
Yeah, so quite up and down, but just like the last weeks, he looks very strong again.
And he did tweet out that motivational tweet. I don't know if you saw that or not, saying that this is just the start of the rest of my year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Of course, he really wants to go. The #1 goal on MMA, for MMA, is BlizzCon. Absolutely. And he's going to be, well, would be very upset if he didn't make it.
And he's going for an SCV scout followed by a Reaper scout, so he wants to find out exactly what Mana is going to do here on King Sejong Station. While Mana, I think I expect him to go straight up on the first map, and then maybe if it doesn't work, he will change it up on the second and third map. So I would see, or I would think he's going up with a very quick Nexus. Will probably cancel the Zealot. And yeah, he actually
snuck the probe out.
Yeah. Nice movement there. And
is he going to get it down, though? It's going to be quite close.
Yeah, there we go. He cancelled one of his probes to make sure.
Oh, the 150 mineral bank of a Zealot and a probe there.
Yeah. Gets the Mothership core behind it, obviously. The Reaper's on the way.
And MMA is playing with gas here as well. He's still with 3.
Still mining, yeah.
Yeah, factory play more than likely here. So, yeah, we'll see how Mana can deal with that. MMA's had quite a lot of success with that play in recent times.
Do you think we will see Hellions because he's getting the reactor, or is it just like Marine, Widow Mine, Medivac?
It really can be any, is the correct answer. It can be both.
Oh, look at this! He's proxying the factory.
Ooh, MMA.
Hey, I think he did that against me as well when we were playing in the round of 8. That's a pretty long time ago, though, but he's been known for proxy factory builds as well against Protoss.
Not recently, though.
Not recently.
Not recently,
yeah.
but he has done it in the past. And because of the recent trends of how this matchup play, and recently MMA hasn't done it, this is probably going to be a surprise here for Mana.
Yeah, definitely.
So this will be Widow Mines then, right? You'd imagine?
Yeah, I would.
So,
maybe even the proxy starport behind this.
Yeah, drop the Widow Mine straight in from that position.
I could see him doing that.
Yeah.
Mana is getting a Twilight Council, so his detection, if he wants to go for detection at all, will be very delayed. And there's the starport proxied as well, so as you mentioned, he's going to fly in with a Widow Mine straight away.
Yeah, this, I mean, depending on if we see the robotics facility kind of fast in this game, is going to mean a massive difference between obviously not having it here. He's got no detection at all. He does not know what he's playing against.
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, Mana didn't scout at all, and you usually don't scout against, like for proxy locations. If it's not 11-11, then it's so rarely that the Terran is actually proxying something.
He's sending up a probe here to the top right. I'm imagining that's just for a potential pylon here, but he's actually squeezed in the robotics facility before additional gateways. That is very helpful here. Imagine if he got a second or third gateway or so.
Yeah, that would be...
We would have seen that SCV there. And if he was controlling the Xel'Naga tower, but he moved out of it.
Can he kill the the Reaper before it spots the Robo? I think it didn't really work out for him. No, he saw the Robo. So MMA knows that it might be hard to get damage done with a drop, but he's getting a third Widow Mine. How do you say it? Like, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny here because imagine if Mana's reaction's on point here.
Yeah.
Doesn't see the Medivac come into his minimap range, isn't reacting fast, he's going to lose probes, he's got to be very careful here. And he's just outside the vision range here of that robotics facility. He's going to boost in at the last possible moment. Is Mana going to react in time? And he will pull the probes just about. One probe sacrifices his life.
Good control there by Mana, pulling all his probes and getting a little bit lucky with the probe going back into the gas. So only losing a single probe. The Observer is being chrono boosted out. He had to use Photon Overcharge. And the third Widow Mine is actually walking towards the natural. So will Mana pay attention once more?
That is such a simple move if this works. Here we go. Hop, skip, and jump to the mineral line. And Mana does pull off. We'll lose a single probe there. So very good defense there from Mana.
You have to give him credit for that. And good pick off there by MMA. Saves the Widow Mine. Gets away.
In a very typical MMA fashion there.
And now we have Blink. And that's exactly what you mentioned. This somewhat aggressive build order with like 3 gateways, Blink. But you still get a lot of economy behind it. So, and we were talking about this before the game. If you defend the Widow Mine drop... Okay, gets the Widow Mine. Can he get the Medivac? Doesn't seem like it.
Blink is almost done here. Just a few seconds. But yeah, as you were saying...
If you defend the Widow Mine drop and you have Blink Stalkers ready, it can be deadly for the Terran because their Stimpack is so late, and he actually got the Medivac on top of the map.
Yeah, and he's taking a bit of damage on those 2 Stalkers, but yeah, did grab the Medivac here. There is an Observer with this, so inside the main base is definitely vulnerable for the time being. There are double Tech Labs there, and Mana's going to swing around, and MMA is not in position currently. He's actually moving to the ramp room. He's got 2 Marauders, and Mana blinks forward, and the Tech Lab does have Stim on it. It has Stim, and it is cancelled. A massive pickup there for Mana, and he is going to start to blink down, and it's a very good start to this harassment. Blink down. It's gone.
Yeah, he's going to warp in 3 more Stalkers. Keep in mind, it's only 3 gateways, so he can't really commit fully to it. But he will keep pressuring the Terran because he, as you mentioned, I mean, he doesn't know it was Stimpack. But whatever upgrade you cancelled, it always feels very good for you.
He's going to have a look at the front door now. Just a bit of damage here and blink backwards once again. And he is going to pick off a bunker here and a Marine. Nicely done there by Mana once again. And he's got the robotics bay now finishing up. Thermal Lance starting, 3 extra gateways. There is a funky Widow Mine on the other side of the map, just kind of
He keeps
Over and
building them
around.
as well. On the right side, there's one more close to the factory, so...
Oh God, Stim again.
Ah,
A second time, Stim gets denied here.
definitely a small mistake by MMA not to have his units in position. I mean, obviously... second stalker by... obviously, he doesn't have a second bunker, so... He has to be very careful how he splits his army. He gets the observer. Brilliant
Okay.
scan there, so...
But
shut down.
unfortunately, he's, I mean, sure his medivac's right, but imagine if he had Stim right now, he'd be looking in quite a powerful
Yeah.
position, but without Stim, he just can't really fight into 6 gateways. First Colossus is out, so there's not going to be any forward Stims at all towards potentially picking off that Colossus, and Mana's going to get this third Nexus down at a very good time here in comparison to what MMA's is.
Okay, so let's make a bet. Will the Widowmine connect on the Stalkers when they are running back?
Yes.
Yes, I think so too. It looks very funny. Oh no, and painful as well for Mana if he walks into the trap.
If he actually doesn't take damage here,
Medivac's
he's still going to stay out in the open.
He wants to chase down a few more Marines scattering around the map just for scouting purposes, obviously. The factory is flying back. As I said, there's another Widowmine being built, so maybe he will load it into the Medivacs as well. And the Stalkers are getting close to the Widowmine, and boom. Yeah, one Stalker dies.
Do you think the lack of forges is going to impact Mana's mid-game here?
Well, he will have a very big army, so whatever MMA throws at him should be defendable. But I'd say in the later stages of the mid-game, if the Terran has 1-1 or maybe 2-1, and you are lacking your second armor upgrade, I think you can definitely feel the difference. And Mana didn't see the army, right?
He's got an observer,
okay.
he should do. He should do.
All the Stalkers were
Yeah.
in the main base, so but just now he regrouped.
So this is going to be a little bit difficult. Still, Stim still not done here. Good force fields to start this off. 2 Widowmines get all the sentries! All the sentries gone. There's like 4 sentries there.
That was painful. And MMA once
3
again with a hot
sentries.
pickup. The units that were being force fielded in were picked up.
Was that manual control there from MMA to target down the sentries? Because there was 2 or 3 zealots at the front.
No, one of the sentries was actually very far forward,
Okay.
and if one of them dies, the splash will actually kill the others. Nice concave there by MMA. He's going for the attack. He has a lot of medivacs, so he can pick up if he wants to.
Oh, there's some units from the left-hand side here, and the first Colossus is going to get picked. No, yes, it does get picked off there. And then we do see a blink backwards from Man, and that was a very nice fight there from MMA in combination with the 3 sentry kills earlier. And even the last Colossus at the back.
Oh my god, this is so painful.
Oh, from looking in pretty good shape before those sentries died, that was definitely a U-turn here for Mana.
And this is without forges, so he had a rather big army supply. He's trying to go for a counterattack with 4 zealots at the third base of the Terran. There's no bunker, but it's slow zealots. The SUVs will just run away. He might be able to pick off a few of them, but with a good reaction of MMA, he shouldn't be too much, yeah.
Oh dear, Mana's got a lockdown tight now, but this opens up a large amount of possibilities here for MMA, whether it be this, a random SCV pool that comes into this to capitalize on his advantage, whether he just plays out a normal game here. He has 2-2 on the way before the Forge is even complete. And the Colossus count got reset there as well.
Yeah.
So, not so good.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. 1-1 is on the way, as you mentioned, 2-2 for MMA. So Mana has to chrono boost, so he doesn't get too far behind. He obviously is already. He's getting charged. The probe, I believe, will drop the Templar archives very soon once he has the gas for it. Because Mana is usually the guy who gets like 3, maybe 4 Colossus and then switches into High Templars. And there we do see the Templar archives going up.
Well, MMA is going to move forward now. He's got a supply advantage in army and workers currently. And he's going to move down into the center of the map here. Maybe look for an opportunity to take a fight. Doesn't really have a large Viking count, so it's not exactly going to be very easy for him to take a fight here. Maybe if he drops towards the natural, well, it is well defended there by Mana. 2 cannons and a couple of zealots. Observer is tracking this army.
Good scan once again.
No longer, though.
Yeah. And he's getting a second starboard behind this, so he wants to deal a little bit of damage. I mean, if he can kill the Protoss, that's fine, obviously. But if not, he will have the backup plan, 4 Vikings at a time.
God, I don't think Mana's actually believe in MMA here. Well, I mean, we all saw the medivacs get picked up here. He blinks into the main base.
Yeah.
He's got to be very careful. There's 5 medivacs full of units here, 4 medivacs full of units. The Stalkers, they blink down! And Mana, who did see this load up, doesn't think that MMA would go for it because it was soaring. He's going to drop inside the main base, and the Forges are exposed here, the Templar Archives are exposed, the Nexus is exposed, the Stalkers get back in here. But then you've got the main army on the third base as well.
Yeah, the Stalkers have no chance to fight against the Stim Marines.
+1 armor cancelled there.
Yeah.
And no Stalkers protecting his Colossus on the left-hand side. 4 get warped in. But a beautiful drop there from MMA, capitalizing on his position. Kills another Colossus. Yeah. And this is a game-winning drop.
And probably killing the last Colossus as well. The Marauders focusing on it. It barely dies. And both Forges died, and the Temple Archives, and the Nexus.
And the Twilight Council probably here as well. What a beautiful drop there by MMA. Mana blind on his right-hand side. No Observer, no Pylon, no Probe, no Zealot, no nothing. And Gamble not having all his units in the right positions here. And now he's paying the price.
Yeah, even though MMA is losing every single unit with his Medivacs, he had such a good macro behind this. 160 supply again. He actually didn't build any Vikings with this. I believe he just used the second starport to produce Medivacs because he knew he's going to lose a lot.
Yeah.
3-3 on the way. The 4 CC, just flawless macro behind this. Ghost Academy is up as well, just in case if there are High Templars.
And there's a scan in the center, no Observer. Scan sees barely an army here. Yeah. And we are going to see MMA walk down here and probably pick up map number 1 here. He's got fantastic upgrades. There's very little units, if any, for mana. There's 0 splash damage here. And MMA is going to go in and going to take this quite convincingly here. And MMA is going to open up his first game, his first series of the day with a victory. And Immortal gets picked off immediately. And Mana, who started well, makes a couple of mistakes. And MMA capitalizes and jumps to the lead.
Yeah, he punished him so hard for not being in position with his Observer like 2 times. Like the first time was when the Widow Mines actually killed all the sentries. Then Mana chased and paid with 2 Colossus for a handful of bio. And then the second time when there was no Observer on the right time, I mean, MMA scanned them, so he was killing Division. Then there was like 5 Medivacs flying in, getting every tech structure, getting the Nexus, cleaning up most of the Stalkers as well, so...
I mean, let's talk about the move that pretty much won the game there, which was that big drop, more so than, I mean, of course, MMA gained an advantage, but that one just finished Mana off.
Yeah.
When you see a Protoss or a Terran army as a Protoss load up into Medivacs, then the Observer goes down, are you expecting that drop to still happen? Do you think he's just going to say, okay, no, I'm going to put everything down and then go for a frontal attack? Obviously, we can highlight the lack of Observers and vision to assist the decision, but what would you do if you're in that position?
I would say, if you don't lose your sentries and the 2 Colossus before, you definitely have to make the call, okay, if he drops, I have my Stalker in place and I have enough army at my 3rd. If the Terran is split up, I can defend both. But given the position Mana was in, having a rather small army, just like 12 Stalkers, 2 Colossus, a few Zealots and sentries, he had to make the call. Do I defend my 3rd, or taking the risk getting dropped? Or like, if I have my Stalkers at the drop, I will lose my 3rd for sure. And the way he split it up this time, he actually lost on both fronts. He lost all Colossus at the 3rd and everything in the main because the Stalkers were too late. It's just a very, very hard decision. But I guess having the Stalkers in the main would have been better.
In this case. But then if he'd lost his 3rd, we could have said he should have had his Stalkers on the 3rd.
Yeah, that's true. It's a very, very hard decision to make. And it comes all down to losing the 2 Colossus and the 3 sentries before because it just... you lacked the firepower.
There, All right, game number 2. Merry-go-round, MMA's map choice. And the 3 maps that were selected down here in the bottom left is the red Terran player playing for Team Acer. It's MMA. Of course, a 7-time StarCraft 2 champion. Won his first event back in 2011, an MLG, and then followed that up by the GSL win at BlizzCon. And up here to the top right-hand side is the blue Protoss player playing for Team Liquid. It's Mana, who in his career has played in 5 finals. One in 2010 was the DreamHack Winter Finals against Nama.
And he lost 2-3, I believe.
He did lose, yes. Lost 2-3 in the finals there. He played in 2 finals in 2011 without a victory. Second place twice, again, 3 seconds. And then 2012 was Mana's year where he picked up DreamHack Summer 2012 and also ESWC shortly after as well. 2013 was a quiet year for the poll. Didn't adapt super well into Heart of the Swarm immediately. But he started to get back on track now. He's had 5 top 16s in the 2014 year. And looking for his first top 8 potentially.
It's going to be rough though. If he wants to switch up his play a little bit, I think Marigo is a very good map for that. Given it's a tricky map overall. It's very hard to take a 3rd as a Protoss. You have some possibilities to jump in with Blink Stalkers. It's a 3-player map, so maybe the Terran scouts you last, so you can hide some stuff. It's definitely a map where you can switch up stuff. And just recently, when I was watching MC, like he loves to do proxy Stargate on this map as well. There are definitely lots of possibilities for Mana if he wants to switch it up. But maybe he thinks, without mistakes, I would have been in a decent game.
Just a quick question that's off topic a little bit here. When you see a player, let's say Mana, for example, coming into this tournament ranked top 10 in Grandmaster, is that an indication of his form in recent times?
Well, obviously you have to play a lot to be top 10 in GM, because it's pretty hard to stay on the top in the GM. You need a decent amount of games. I wouldn't really say he's in, because of that he's in very good shape, but at least
just
he
plays.
plays.
He's playing a lot right now.
He's playing a lot. That's at least what you can take out of that. But yeah, when I was talking to him, I think I already mentioned it. He said he had some very strict practice given for his group today, knowing the players, knowing the matchup, knowing the maps. And overall, he said he wasn't playing too much, but he feels good. So let's see what he has on Marigo here.
Yeah.
MMA, by the way, is getting a Reaper, and this time not proxying any factory or something.
No
like
trickery
that.
this time, no. Unfortunately, by the looks of the probe in the middle of the map here, he's going to miss the barrack scout just by a little bit here. The Marines should pop out in time to deny this.
Yeah, let's see if MMA pays attention, though.
Yeah.
Maybe he just released them. But it's MMA, so I guess he will
It's going to be close.
be able to kill the probe before. Nope.
No, he gets in there, just very, very, very closely there. But MMA, the two major times these two have played in the big tournaments was, of course, GSL way back when, where MMA won 2-0, and he also won 2-0 against Mana in the first WCS season in 2013. So he's got the two big wins against Mana. Looking at a potential third here with one game up. But Twilight Council again here, Hazrobs.
I guess Mana realized that he was able to do some damage with that, but it came all down to the failed Widow Mine attack. So I hope he doesn't misread the situation and tries to do exactly the same build, because I believe if MMA has either Combat Shield or Stimpack at a certain point of the game, like not too late as it was on last game, then he will be able to punish Mana.
Yeah. It's funny to think that, isn't it? Without Stim for so long in that game, he was still able to do what he did. Combat Shield's first upgrade coming out from MMA here. He's going to move out with his first set of units, but it is one gateway, Twilight for Blink, then Robo. Obviously, the extra gateways would have been more useful in this particular scenario. Is Mana going to be okay here? Is he going to take a lot of probe damage? Are we going to see MMA Stim, or not Stim, but move into the mineral lines?
I think Photon Overcharge, and then you have to pull your probes if the Terran commits. If he doesn't commit, you use Photon Overcharge. I mean, you don't really want to use it, but you have to in this case, I believe.
Yeah.
And Combat Shield won't be ready. Either it's a little bit mistimed, or it's just not planned for this attack. I believe it's just not planned because it comes so early.
It's planned for the second one, apparently, yeah.
Definitely for the second attack. Does he get the Stalker? Yes. Good focus fire there by MMA.
MMA backs off. And in...
look at this.
Yeah, Reaper goes inside the main base here, gets a quick scout, but the second attack, a second Marauder and another 6 or so Marines. This time, no Photon Overcharge. This time, one Stalker down. Currently, one Stalker, one Sentry, without Photon Overcharge shortly.
You better start. You better start an Immortal and stop chrono boosting your
He's got no
probes.
idea this is happening, though. The Observer's going to maybe give him some range. Two Stalkers warped in. He is about 30 seconds away from Blink. But
if he misses the units with the Observer, it's...
Oh my golly gosh, he doesn't see the unit. Okay, so he sees the units now. Briefly sees the units. 3 Stalkers going to take the high ground for now. Another Stalker gets warped in, but still no Immortal. 1 Sentry, Photon Overcharge, 5 seconds away. And MMA's walking forward here. The probes are stuck around the back. One probe goes down. Where is he going to go? He does have a force field for the round.
Oh!
Waits. Turns around.
Okay,
Photon Overcharge on the natural is going to be activated here. 2 pylons are down here for MMA. And he's going to go around here. Blink is available, and he does jump inside the main base, and all the probes get away there.
Good reaction there by Mana. Saving his force field for a very long time. Only losing 2 probes, and I believe 1 or 2 pylons and 1 or 2 probes. Even saving the Stalker. So very well done by him. He does have the Robo Bay behind this, so Colossus production will start once he's out of the supply block, obviously.
Mana's going to try and get a little bit of damage done with his Blink Stalkers here. Hopefully could get something.
And the starport is pretty much delayed because of this. Will be finished around minute 10, so the Medivacs will be there like 1 minute later than it usually will be. And Mana has to get pylons.
Look at this right-hand side here. Mana's building an aggressive pylon, but
Yeah.
spotted immediately here by MMA, who's also dealing with these Stalkers still at the north side. And good micro here from Mana, dealing out quite a bit of damage here, actually a lot of damage.
Yeah, he will get every single unit. How many Stalkers will
Very
he
nice.
lose? Wow, good control there. Still, wow. Just a single Stalker, I
For
think.
all those units here, well done there by Mana. He warps in 3 more Stalkers. His pylon on the right-hand side was spotted and stopped. And still only on 3 gateways. What is his plan here? I guess...
I wasn't really... I'm not really sure if he wanted to be aggressive. Obviously, the pylon positioning was showing that he wanted to be aggressive, but he doesn't have the gate count yet,
Yeah,
so...
I was waiting to see if he's going to throw any more down, but well, looks of it not. MMA snuck around this right-hand side with 5-6 Marines.
Yeah, and they can do a lot of damage if they get into the mineral line and there's no photon overcharge.
Well,
but
there's a Colossus and a Sentry, so he should be okay here. Meanwhile, MMA is just powering up. 2nd Engineering Bay Armory. His 4th and 5th barracks were added just now, and 3rd Command Center on the way. MMA has a look, kills a probe, and backs off, seeing the Colossus here, and likewise Mana backs off from the other side of the map.
Yeah, he's so scared. He even jumped back with the Blink Stalkers.
No way!
Yeah, he's like, you with Medivacs already? But no, Mana. You can stay calm a little bit longer because the Medivacs are just flying over to your base right now, so you have a little bit more time to get your Stalkers into position. But he's actually blinking to the left side, trying to chase down them on the way.
Well, he's going to catch these Marines, and should not lose a single Stalker here. And chase them down. 2 Medivacs inside the main base, though the more important part. They drop on the Twilight Council, and that is going to be gone. And what else, though? What's gone after that? That's a given. 1 probe. The other probes all pulled back. Colossus coming in here. 1 sentry down immediately. They pick up from MMA, and he does get out there, so a couple of probe kills and a sentry.
Can he intercept the Medivacs on the right side? The Stalkers are for a hunt right now. They're looking for it. Medivacs are still there, so maybe we will see an interception. But
they're on that high ground there. Mothership Core's not far away. Colossus coming to assist. Mana has not decided to check up there, so he will miss it. And MMA is going to march through the middle of the map now. He's got 1 +1 attack only. 2-1 on the way.
Yeah, 2-1 on the way.
Second starport as well.
And the second starport with a reactor already attached. So if he doesn't take too much damage right now and he gets a little bit more time, I think he will be in a very, very good position. Mana completely skipped his forges once more.
He's skipped the forges, yep. And he's also in the middle of the map with... Is he attacking here? Is he defending here? Where are you going, Mana?
I'm not 100% sure.
What are you doing?
It's very dangerous as well.
Yeah.
Like moving out like this. What happens if 3
He's only on
Medivacs...
50 probes, though.
Yeah, I think he wants to attack.
But now double forge comes in. I mean, is he going to try and break this 3rd a little bit and then fall back?
It's only 2 Vikings, so he definitely has a window to attack, and I think he feels it, so
yeah,
he's
80
going
supply
for
for MMA, 89 here for Mana. Can he equalize his series up? MMA spreading or moving to this right-hand side more. So spreading it is as he takes a position to fight. Time Warp comes in, blink to the right-hand side, targeting on the Vikings. SCV's coming to the left-hand side here, but he's so close. The Colossus are right in front of the bio here. One's gonna go down, and then this is a great spread of units here for MMA, and he's marching forward towards that Colossus again. There's a lot of Marauders here, and Mana throws his army to the gutter.
Oh no, he was on move command. At least the Colossus have been on move command for a second. And he only had a single sentry. It's so hard to push with only a single sentry because you're lacking the force fields. Even though there are not many Vikings, the Terran will spread up so nicely as MMA did. And just like try to avoid the splash damage of the Colossus and then stim in from every side.
I think Mana can hold his natural here, but I'm not sure he can hold his 3rd. And if he loses that, he's going to be in terrible position in this game. He needs to kind of do both, hold his natural and his 3rd.
And his main.
And his main.
The Stalkers are placed in the main right now. He's afraid of a Doom Drop once more. Which is a very, very strong tactic on Marigo.
MMA scans, sees no Stalkers with this army. I think he's going to take a fight here. Stalkers are coming back to defend. They're a little bit slow here. They do have Blink still available. 1 Colossus being targeted down, the 2nd one as well. And Stalkers do come in to save the day. And both Colossus know one of them will fall here. And the 2nd one shortly as well. But MMA gets up to the high ground, spreads his units thin here to minimize the splash damage from the Colossus. Even charges forward there. All of these units are going down. It's 2-1 upgrades for MMA, 0-0 for Mana. GG, MMA 2-0. And he's through to the winners match where he will face Golden for a 1st place position in today's group.
He made it look easy, I have to say. Mana, with some small mistakes in both games. And MMA completely punishing him for that. The 3 sentries, 2 Colossus into the big drop. not paying attention that there might be the drop on the way. And then on Marigo, he lost one sentry when MMA was doing the first small drop, like the Twilight Council and the sentry were the casualties. And then he decided to push out with only a single sentry. And the short move command on his Colossus actually, I think, cost him the whole fight.
Yeah.
Or at least there was no way to win it anymore.
Yeah, that's a sad way to kind of lose, really, just by your own mistakes more so than not. But it is MMA who goes through in first place and continues his good form from the back, of course, that DreamHack Moscow or DramHack Moscow tournament victory that he picked up a week or so ago. And here he continues his good form. Will he go through in first place? Will he go to the deciders match? We'll have to find out a little bit later on. But before that, let's hear some words from MMA.
MMA, congratulations, a very straightforward 2-0 win. Coming into WCS this week, having won at DreamHack, what has it done for your confidence? I'd imagine that right now you're playing well and feeling great.
우승하고 이제 WCS로 왔는데 그걸로 인해 좀 자신감이 좀 커졌는지.
뭐 자신감은 전이랑 똑같이 그냥 항상 대회라고 생각하면은 나오니까 그래서 약간의 운도 좀 맡겼고 드림핵도 그랬던 것 같아요.
Well, I didn't get any additional confidence because of DreamHack, because I think every pro gamer trains really hard before an important match. So I think it's about the luck you have on that day and yeah, how much you practice.
Okay. In terms of BlizzCon right now, I know that BlizzCon means an awful lot to you and that you really want to go, but explain it in your own words. What does it mean to you to play at BlizzCon?
이제 블리즈컨을 위해 이제 포인트도 모으고 잘 하고 있는데 블리즈컨에서 게임을 하는 게 이제 형한테 얼마나 중요한지 한번 설명해 주세요.
지금 블리즈컨은 제 이번에 마지막 거의 게이머 인생의 전부인 것 같고요. 그리고 네, 아직까지는 그래도 승자전인데 진출은 못했잖아요. 그래서 좀 좋아하기는 좀 일릴 것 같아요. 마지막에 진출해야 좀 마음 편히 얘기할 수 있을 것 같아요.
I think my career is like pretty much at the end, and so BlizzCon will be like the most important and biggest tournament in my career. So it's a really important tournament for me, but I don't want to say too much yet because I didn't qualify yet. So after I win all the matches, I think I'm ready to tell you.
Okay, all right. In terms of the matchup against Mana, talk to us about your builds, your philosophy. What did you expect going into the match?
마나 선수 상대로 하는 걸 알게 됐을 때 무슨 준비와 무슨 마음가짐으로 경기를 임했는지.
일단 치즈러시를 굉장히 잘 막는 선수로 제가 파악을 하고 있어가지고 치즈러시는 좀 연습을 안 했고요. 좀 후반적으로 가면서 좀 유령 바이킹식으로 가려고 했는데 상대가 업그레이드가 너무 늦어가지고 그냥 중간에 끝난 것 같아요.
So when I analyzed Mana, I knew that he is a very good player and very good at defending cheese or all-in plays. So I actually prepared a very late game style, like going for Vikings, Ghosts, and all the big composition Terran. But actually when I played the game, he was pretty late with his upgrades, so it didn't come to that.
Okay, thank you very much, MMA. Well done. Congratulations, you're through to the upper bracket final, and we'll see you play Golden. It's a player that you've played many times in practice, so how do you approach a match against Golden now?
골든 선수랑 이제 위너 매치를 하게 됐는데 많이 같이 연습도 하고 친한 선수인데 그럴 때 이제 좀 어떤 마음가짐으로 하는지 친한 선수랑 할 때.
명환이가 슬레이어스 때부터 정말 오랫동안 알고 지내던 동생인데 뭐 동생이고 나발이고 그냥 제가 두드려 패고 올라가겠습니다.
Well, I'm really good friends with Golden, and I played with him since Slayers. But yeah, and he's a really good like little brother to me.
but for now, little brother or what, it doesn't matter. I'm going to beat him up.
Okay, well, good luck in your game against Golden. It's a game of friends, but I guess a game of enemies just for the match that they play in. We're going to take a quick break now, but when we come back, we'll have the bottom half of the bracket where two men are fighting for their lives to stay in the tournament. It's Welmu versus Mana after the break. Welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League, round of 16. We're into Group C. 2 of our opening games are done and in the history books, and we have the upper bracket final we thought we might have. But before we get there, let's just check in with the bracket and show you where we're up to so far this evening. You've already missed our opening 2 matches, which saw both of the Europeans going down, unfortunately, and down to the lower bracket. And, of course, the 2 Koreans, the 2 ex-Slayers players, the 2 sons of boxers. No, sons of boxers. I don't know if you can do that plurally. I'm not even sure boxers are allowed to have 2 sons. Definitely one of them, MMA, going up against a former teammate and good friend in the upper bracket final, MMA. That's going to happen a little bit later on. We're going to focus firstly on the lower bracket, where these 2 players are fighting for their survival in this competition, Welmu and Mana. I'm going to say this, as harsh as, and I hope Gregor's not listening right now, I expected Mana to be in this position. I might not necessarily have expected Welmu, but what do we get now is a PvP. And we know that anything can happen now. Literally anything can happen.
Well, we saw Welmu already build a lot of his WCS success on actually doing very well in PvP in the past couple of seasons, with him being here. And then Mana, likewise, you know, has had some good PvP in the past as well. So both of these going into this series, I think, certainly have a shot. I don't think it's like really weighted in favor of one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the way that they match up against each other, there's nothing in it really. It's 7-4 right now in favor of Welmu in terms of maps, 4-2 over matches. They played plenty of matches between them. Yeah. 6 in all. So can't really read too much of that. Plus, as you've rightly said, Welmu's PvP has actually been very, very good in the past. It's easily his best matchup statistically. It's always been his best matchup when he's been in WCS. And when he's been in trouble, it's the one that he kind of falls back to get himself out of that hole. Yeah, and when it's come to the people that have put the road to an end for him when it comes to PvP in WCS, it's been the big hard-hitting Koreans that have done Koreans,
it.
Yeah.
So people like San. And
MC as well. Yeah, and in terms of Mana, like we spoke a little bit earlier on about how he's, you know, it's been a long time. 689 days ago, in fact, he won the Electronic Sports World Cup. It was the last time he won a Premier tournament back in 2012. Is it, I don't want to be mean to him again, but is it just the quality of the players coming to events has gone up since then? Or is it, you know, how would you assess his previous achievements in the context of today?
Mana had this kind of recession period where, you know, he had such great results before, was contending for that top foreigner spot, then had this kind of slump where he wasn't really doing too much. But it feels like the transition over to Team Liquid has kind of rekindled what he lost a little bit in that. Of course, it's not fully back to the form that he would previously had or would want now, but he's getting there. He's getting there, and I think, you know, he was also previously in the round of 16 as well as now. So that's good steps for him to get back to where he was eventually. And 2015 could be completely different. Yeah,
could be a completely different killer of fish. He has 4 appearances in the Premier League, up against the man who has 5 appearances in the Premier League. So pretty even. Joking around right now, and Welmu having removed Foxtrot, Catalina removed by the Liquidian in blue. And I'm guessing this is going a fairly similar way to most map vetoes. Deadwing will probably fall out of the way. And what do you think? Merry-go-round, Nimbus?
I mean, in PvP, mirror matchup, it doesn't really make a massive difference. It does depend on, I guess, like the size of the maps, if you're going to proxy something, if you're going to be a little bit cheeky yourself, as well as, you know, the ability to actually get over to your opponent's base quickly. 4-player maps cause a lot of volatility, more so than others, or 3-player maps as well, since we have a few of those in. So there you go, that's why those disappear. Yeah, it's a good reason.
Nimbus left in, so we might get that, I guess, maybe as the 3rd, but I don't know, one of them might fancy a little bit of something funky. Yeah, okay, so let's do that first then, says Welmu. He quite likes Nimbus. I've watched him on a number of occasions. Actually, he played on the first time against Golden, of course, on Nimbus, and had that terrific win on the Swarm host. So he does like the old Nimbus quite a lot. Overgrowth 2nd, King Sejong will be the 3rd if we need it. funky couple of guys, aren't they? Having some fun over there. They don't seem perturbed about the fact that they've dropped down and this is last chance saloon, do
They're
they?
two of the smiliest Protoss I know, so maybe outside of Stardust, because Stardust never actually does anything other than smile. But
We're going to call him Smile Dust from now on.
it can go that way. It can go that way. But I think as this is going to play out, as much as, you know, they are very, very heavily, they're very well pitted against one another, I would still give a little bit of an edge to Wellmu, even though Mana had a very good series against Bling in the round of 32, which, if I recall, was pretty aggressive from Mana.
I think all these games, when you watch the round of 32, were very funky, to say the least. They were either overly aggressive or a bit weird in some way, and yeah, he definitely had a fun round of 32. His games against 4GG in particular were very different as well. I know it's obviously a different matchup right now, but when it comes down to it, we know PvP can be a little bit of a flip coin situation. Are you expecting the same for this one, or do you think they'll play a little bit more for the long game?
If Wellmu has anything to say about, I mean, Wellmu, yes, can go for aggressive builds himself, but I feel that Wellmu probably is better versed when it comes to the long game, so if he wants to push it longer, then that could go well. Mana, meanwhile, is ever the aggressor, and we've already seen him like Blink a lot, even today in a different matchup, but we normally see quite a lot of that from him. Maybe he'll go down that route.
Do you think he has to in this game? I mean, we know that Wellmu is very good mid to late game, so does Mana approach this and think, do you know what, maybe the best chance I have is for a little bit of cheese here, a little bit of fun early on?
I'll go out on a bit of a limb and say that maybe he does, because Wellmu is able to hang with some of the best of them in the Europeans, and of course they have knocked him out, as we said before, in WCS Europe, but it's given him a lot of wealth of experience against these big, hard-hitting Protoss in later stages of Protoss versus Protoss that's helped him out.
Okay, first game assessments for both these players. Wellmu, I think you could argue that the second game he probably should have lost, but the first game he probably should have won, so I guess that balances it out a little bit. What did you make of his macro and his micro in that first match?
Good overall. I mean,
you didn't see anything sloppy, didn't see anything that you thought maybe he'd done better in the past?
The thing is he kept making cool decisions to always keep harassing, always trying to keep Golden down. We're on about overgrowth here, right? Yeah. But in the end, I don't know, the small moments that he missed, which are very, very hard to pick up on, obviously, because you don't know if there is you're expecting there to be a hive back there. You're expecting extra Vipers to be in play as opposed to just one throughout the entire composition. So it's very hard to read into. Maybe the Oracle's revelation could have tried to hint onto that. It's like, wait, well, why is there only one Viper here for so long? But overall, you know, just a kick in the butt.
All right, final thoughts collected. Time for predictions. Which way is it going? Your fantasy team's doing all right now. Not as good as Apollo's.
Not as good as Apollo's.
If you haven't played, fantasy.eslgaming.com right now, and you can play. It's a bit too late to try and beat someone like Apollo, who is 7th right now on the list. And I think he might just be first after tonight.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. You're not quite as high as that, and I'm definitely not as high as that, but you've been pretty good with the predictions so far.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
You said that I'd mentioned Mana as my choice for this group. But
well,
technically
by
I have
default.
Yeah, because we all had to pick one person, apparently.
Well, no, it was just that, well, I'd gone with Wellmu, Sean had already gone with Golden, and Hasselhoff said MMA, and I was like, well, that only leaves Mana for
Don't tell him that I was left with Mana.
Oh, well.
Anyway, so I picked MMA overall.
Yes.
A lot of people have picked MMA overall.
Yes. But in terms of this matchup, Wellmu or Mana?
I got to go with Wellmu.
Okay, experience not counting in this one. We're thinking that the youngster might steal it away. Hard to imagine, though, that both of these players are just 20 years of age. How the hell did that happen to Mana? He's been around forever. Time now for our deciding game in the lower bracket. One of these goes home. One of them advances on to play another Korean for the final place in Group C. Let's find out who it'll be with Hasselhoff and Apollo.
Thank you very much once again, Red Eye, and welcome to the commentary desk, where I'm joined by professional Protoss player Mouse Sports Hasselhoff, and you are going to break down this PvP. Excellent for us, aren't you?
I try my best.
I'm sure you will. This is going to be, and sadly, one of our Europeans getting knocked out from Group C here. One is going to be eliminated. One will get the chance to play the decider, which means they will go up against the loser of either MMA or Golden in our 5th game of the evening. But before we get into that, talk to us about your experience with these two players in their respective PvP departments.
Wellmu has crazy PvP. I remember him of one of the most scariest European Protosses to play in PvP. While Mana, I think he has very, very good control. It's definitely something you need in PvP. But he's not as scary as Velmu to me. Whenever I played Mana, I was like, okay, I can beat this guy. But when I played Velmu, I was like, oh, this is going to be so hard. And he always taught me a lesson, like how to play PvP. And actually, I copied a lot from him as well, overall. So, but we recently looked up his stats, and he looked a little bit weaker in his PvP the last...
Velmu, that is,
Velmu, the last 4 months or something. While Mana always had solid PvP, very micro-based, I would say, with Blink Stalkers, Colossus, very good control. Good time warps when needed. And yeah, that guy, he knows all the dirty tricks as well, by the way. Like 4-player maps, he scouts cross first, trying to mess you up with that. Things like that is something Welmu likes to do.
Better overall stats here for Welmu, better WCS rank, better percentage versus Protoss, and also the lead head-to-head over the years. 4 wins in favor of Welmu over Mana, but recently they played in Who's the Best European tournament, where Mana 2-0'd Welmu. Just 2 weeks ago. You think that'll play a fact into a bit of this game because they played so close?
It could be, but I wouldn't really overrate that in PvP. Every time, like, if we play today, I might beat you 2-0, and tomorrow you can beat me 2-0. Everything is possible. It's a lot about choosing the right build orders, having the right mindset in PvP, and not having a mental block against your opponent, I would say.
Well, who goes home, who gets an opportunity to fight against one of the Koreans in the decided game? Let's find out up here to the top left-hand side. Playing for Team Liquid, it's Mana. Over the years, was considered one of the best Protoss players in Europe. Slightly off that mark nowadays, but down here a player who's definitely up there as one of the best Protoss players in Europe. In the blue, playing for Team Neurosoft, it's Welmu. Finland versus Poland.
Yeah, oftentimes you forget about Welmu when you talk about all the good players in Europe. Welmu is oftentimes not on the radar, playing for a not unknown team, but not really a big one either.
Only really competes in WCS, doesn't really compete in that much else.
But he's always a very, very dangerous player. So Nimbus is the first map, 4 players map, which can lead to a very weird game, like with 1 base, openings, stuff like that is definitely possible because it's very hard to scout your opponent if you are unlucky and it's cross position. So unless Welmu sends the probe cross map first, they won't find each other on the first position. So it can be very hard to scout.
Which are some of the more common strategies then on Nimbus?
Everything is possible, I would say. Maybe not Blink so much because I wouldn't really do that on Nimbus. I mean, you can even jump into the natural from the edge, but I don't think it's that strong, to be honest. But everything else definitely possible. Some kind of DT, some kind of 1-gate robo expand. Stargate is definitely a very solid option as well. So yeah, let's see. Let's see once the Cyber Core is done, because then we all know what we will see here.
Well, Welmu with a slightly earlier scout here. Looks like he should be able to get in. Well, he will get inside the main base and see what Mana's up to. We'll see if Mana can actually get inside or not. Should be able to make it just about, I think, but we'll see as it gets closer and closer. But because of the earlier scout here, Welmu is just a few seconds behind when it comes to his structures here compared to Mana. Dedicating a couple of resources away from mining, of course, with the probe leaving earlier. And inside the probe goes.
Both have 3 probes on each gas. They were filling them up slowly. Mana's getting a second gate.
Spotted immediately here by Welmu.
So will it change his decision to do anything? I would say no. Is he? Oh, never mind. I thought the probe would die. I was just hearing the noise. Like
unfortunately, that was Welmu's probe doing that. But Mana also gets inside the main base. Sees a single gateway and the Stargate at the back there.
So Welmu didn't care of the Stargate being scouted, even though he saw 2 gateway. I mean, he will have 3 Stalkers in position to kill any Oracle, or at least chase it. And even some kind of pressure might be annoying for Welmu here, because he has to... Like, his Stalker will be much later than Mana's.
And the probe now being tugged down.
He wants to confirm the Stargate. He wants to see it once more. Can he? Oh, I think he wasn't in range.
No, he didn't spot that there.
That's very annoying, because now you can't be 100% sure. Did the guy cancel it, or did he not do that? So that's very annoying for Mana.
And Welmu's had a probe hidden inside the main base all this time, and actually has a quick look inside there. Sees Crudibus in the gateway. Doesn't see any other structure around the back there, where there are 2 pylons, bear in mind. So if it was going to be anywhere, it would have been there. And he pokes up, sees no natural, so he knows that a bit of pressure is on his way. And what is his return here? It's going to be the robotics facility, while the Oracle sneaks around here. Photon overcharge just about ready.
Can he
almost
sneak the Oracle out without the Stalker being like spotting the Oracle? Looks like it, yeah. But of course, Mana will have the Mothership Core at home, just in case if the Oracle flies in. But then he has to use the overcharge very early on, and all the Stalkers are on the map, so it can be tricky afterwards to defend against the Oracle.
And he has chosen the faster expansion here. Wellmove playing a little bit safe with the robotics facility coming in, but the Oracle's almost over there. It's across the halfway point now. Mothership Core is in position. He's got to be fast here where he triggers the Photon overcharge, otherwise probes will go down. But robotics facility as well for Manet.
He's controlling his Stalkers right now, so maybe he will be a little bit late on the overcharge. We will see the
Oracle. Comes the Oracle. One probe, two probe. He's going to get a couple here. Just two, but at the other side of the map, we did see a Stalker being picked off. I think 3 Stalkers versus 1. I think it did die. No, now it dies. Now it dies. And Photon overcharge activated. Immortal on the way here, as well as the expansion. But a very close game, but the Oracle still being alive. It's going to be a big threat.
Can he chase down the Stalkers if the Immortal pops? I think Mana has to run away. He shouldn't stay any longer. There's a Sentry as well, so if the... he actually is greedy and tries to go for the Sentry. Will he get the reward? Yes, he does. He will lose 1 Stalker in the process, though.
1 Stalker for 1 Sentry.
The Oracle is still around. Mana did get some Stalkers in his main base. He's adding a 3rd gateway. Should probably get the Observer very soon as well. But he's chrono boosting his probes. I like that.
Just one this time. Oh, no, just one.
A little bit unlucky there.
Nope. Just one, so 3 in total now for the Oracle. But the game moves on at a very similar rate. I mean, there's not a big difference between the 2 players now.
Yeah, that's true. Both have their Nexus up. Both are chrono boosting their Nexus. Wellmove just started that. Slightly earlier Forge for Wellmove, though, and that's something you always have to look out for in PvP. The upgrades, especially the attack upgrade, obviously, is very, very important. Obviously, both will continue to build a few Immortals, and then the question is, will they transition into the Robo Bay, or like just Charge Lord, High Templar, very quick 3rd, maybe a War Prison being mixed? There are lots of follow-up in PvP since Heart of the Swarm.
The Oracle's got 4 kills in total. No Immortals yet from Manet. He's just about to finish it up with a pylon. Does he start one now? He's got a lot of gas in the bag, 600 gas here.
That's very interesting that not a single Immortal has been started. I think he wants, it's very late, but he starts one, while Wellmove already has 2 done. Most likely will add a 3rd to the composition, I believe. They both have... No, actually, Wellmove completely forgot about building sentries here, so he doesn't have any kind of hallucination scout. Obviously, he has the Oracle to scout.
Just now, 2 getting warped in.
Yeah, that's a little bit late, though. So,
but there's no super big difference between the both of them here, and that kind of means that there's no opportunities that either player could go for a win, of course, or an attack, which would suggest that this game, is going to go on for a while.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Given that it's cross-position as well, Immortals and Sentries, it takes a while to walk over the Mothership Core as well. The Oracle is hovering around, so Mana doesn't really want to leave his base.
Right.
There's a pause. Both are getting the Twilight Council behind this, so they are setting up for the later stages of the game, getting +2, probably adding the 3rd Nexus very soon as well.
Yeah, just setting up. So we did see the intricacies of the early game there, the different types of openers kind of hitting up against each other, but nobody really came out massively ahead of the other, quite similar. As looks like Wellmove is ready to continue on. Just a slight pause there, slight hiccup, but back into it immediately we are. How fast can you take a 3rd here? Can you take the 3rd off the back of what we have with 3 gateways apiece? Is it not too greedy to do that? What do you do in this position?
You can be greedy. I think in Wellmove's position, though, you shouldn't do that because he doesn't have the full scout anymore because his sentries are so late, so he doesn't know, did my opponent already add the gateways or not? Because if you take the Nexus and your opponent already added the gateways, you might run the risk of dying to an attack. If it's the other, like if both get the gateways, it's fine, no one can die. But if someone tries to be greedy, it can be very risky, and both are adding the gateways right now.
And both have just picked up some massive scouts on each other as well. All the gateways have been added on for both sides, and both of them spotted it too. Mana, Hallucinated Phoenix, and Wellmove with the Oracle. And it looks like both are going to probably take that 3rd now, as Wellmove's probe does go down. Faster +2 coming here for Wellmove. He's also concentrating on that chrono boost on that Forge. He's starting to pull away a little bit with that attack upgrade compared to Mana. I know Wellmove did have a slight advantage with the construction of that Forge, but it wasn't that big. it's a good 60, 70 seconds ahead now.
Yeah, that's true. And he constantly, as you mentioned, is chrono boosting it. He's still chrono boosting it. Both are getting the Templar archives with their army composition, so no Robo-Bay for now. Mana did get a prism, if I'm not.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a prism with 2 immortals in there. That's. I mean, that's. I wanted to say interesting.
Is it good? Because
yes.
Welmu's played against. I mean, not Welmu, so Mana's played against a player who's gone for a Stargate,
Okay.
so it's just a single Phoenix can stop this quite hard, surely.
Definitely, but he found out that there is no Phoenix on the map yet.
Yeah.
So I believe he will pick off like a pylon and maybe 2 probes,
And
so
then
3
back
probes,
off.
and then he backs off because he knows he will start a Phoenix.
Okay.
And the Warp Prism, to have it around is always good. And by the way,
Right.
Welmu, if we go into his vision, he has a very, very good vision of the map right now.
Yeah, and I think he spotted this movement out as well at the same time. 2 Immortals at the front door here. And this is a big play for Mana, actually, because when the Mothership is coming down, he doesn't have that many units here, but if he was somehow able to find position on that third base while harassing with the Immortals here, it would be huge. I mean, obviously killing the third is massive.
Yeah, that's a very, very nice move by Mana. Also good focus by, he got like 5 probes, a pylon. He's warping in a lot of stuff in the middle of the map. But Welmu saw the army moving out, right? Okay.
Yeah, and he sees the pylon being built in the middle too here, so he's got to be very careful to balance this both up, not to lose his third here.
Losing the forward pylon, but he still has 2 more on the map. Probe is still alive. Welmu has a decent army, but the rocks are still there. It's very annoying to walk around there, as we can see. He tries to find a good position now.
It's going to be hard to break into this, I think. Both players so similar, and that's why actually Welmu's got a larger army current. And he does have that +2 advantage as well.
Not for long, though. It's only 10 seconds away for Mana if he
But
chrono
the
boosts.
economy is huge difference, though. 57 probes for Mana, 44 for Welmu.
Yeah. Very long economy hold, and he obviously lost a few. A nice drop once again into the natural. Mana's playing this beautifully.
Yeah, this is really good. Just holding position outside that third base while swinging in with the Warp Prism here. And that's a big warping as well. But Welmu's had enough. He actually moves forward here. And is Mana ready to take this fight? He backs off. Both of them back off.
Almost the feedback on the Mothership Core. Mana warped in a single High Templar to snipe the Mothership Core. The drop has been cleaned off, but no, actually he loaded it up and he will go on into the main base now. And he forces Welmu to go all in, I believe.
Welmu's just going for it here. This is all or nothing coming out from Welmu. He's down in supply. The supply advantages where the army is in favor of Mana, and Mana's all he's got to do is kind of set up defensively right now. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of probes killed in this game by that Warp Prism. Here is the final attack coming in. Time Warp goes down.
Very early, though.
Is he going to be able to take a good fight? There's quite a few Immortals in here for Welmu. And he is chasing this army down. Okay, here turns around the fight. And there is the Photonova charge, and the fight takes place. Is he going to be able to break through this? There's a lot of units, and of course, Warpins coming in here from Mana. And he pushes that back, and there's no meat at the front of that, apart from these Archons, who obviously don't want to lose their lives too fast in this engagement.
Yeah, Mana sniped down the Warp Prism with his Archons in the Nexus during the fight, the Photon Overcharge. So Welmu basically had no straight reinforcements, only with his Pylon. And given the amount of Archons and Zealots, I think Mana will survive here.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to survive, and surviving is winning in this type of game, especially when you killed off so many probes, and Welmu's attack is not going to work. Good game is called, and Mana goes up 1-0 here against the Finn.
That looked like a very, very solid PvP by Mana. Taking the small opportunity with the Immortal drop into 4 Zealot drop, completely throwing Welmu off the game. Like, he had no defense at his natural twice, taking a huge amount of losses on his probes, and feeling the pressure on his third as well. Like, forcing him into an all-in after that. So, definitely small hiccups by him in the defense, even though he had such a good map control with all the pylons, the Oracle around, and stuff like that.
So what was it that went wrong there for Welmu? Was it the way that he dealt with that specific scenario? Should he have dealt with it better? Should he have made a Phoenix as soon as he knew what was going on?
Definitely.
Should he have split his army up? What's some of the things that can be highlighted for him to do better in that kind of scenario?
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, he has to handle it way better. It's okay to lose, let's say, like 3 probes, maybe a pylon, or maybe some of the structures that is on the outskirt of your base. But he had the Stargate, and I guess he forgot about it, because making a Phoenix is pretty cheap. You chrono boost it once, it will pop out, you can chase down the Warp Prism, and then the second attack with the Zealot is not happening. And especially the second attack with the Zealot was forcing him into a situation that he felt like, okay, I have to go now. Now or
never.
Yeah, now or never. So it was definitely not defending very well against the War Prism,
And
costing him the game.
I mean, the difference of probe count between the both of them, Mana just continuing to probe behind that attack as well. He didn't necessarily have the largest army at that point, but he had position, and he was throwing a lot of his money into furthering his economy. And, you know, Wellmu had halted that and stopped and had got this army ready to attack, and then he couldn't attack.
Yeah.
Unfortunately there for Wellmu, Mana, very, very nice moves from the pole. But game number 2 is upon us. It is going to be Overgrowth. Will this be a 2-0? Or can Wellmu fight back? Up here to the top right-hand side as the red Protoss player, currently leading 1-0, playing for Team Liquid. It's Mana. A change of game quality from one series to the other, if we ignore the opponent. And then down here to the bottom left-hand side as the blue Protoss player needs to win this, or he will be eliminated in the round of 16 for the first time in a long time. It's Wellmu. And Wellmu hasn't lost in the round of 16 since Season 3 last year. He's had a clean first year in 2014. Season 1 and Season 2, top 8s.
Yeah, pretty good, or very solid performance overall by him in the WCS Europe. So on Overgrowth, none of the players is going for any kind of proxy gate so far, and we will see if they actually check for that in their main base. At least in the main base, you should check for that right after you pop the gateway. And Mana is doing that, while Wellmu is playing a little bit stubborn here. Not doing that.
No.
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 And as a small reminder, the IEM Katowice, the grand finals, when CJ Hero was playing against SOS, he got proxy-gated twice in a row. And on the third map, he still didn't scout, so it would have worked 3 times in a row. But yeah. Not this game though.
And his Mana is taking proper scouting measures here. Checks inside the main in triple locations, and then of course swings around to the natural as well.
I like it, it's nice. Play it safe, you're ahead 1-0, you basically won the game from an even point. I mean, he was slightly ahead because of the earlier Nexus, but it wasn't anything big, and the upgrade was in favor of Wellmu, so I'd say the game was very even, but the War Prism drop really turned his favor, and he was just winning the game from there on. So why not take it the same way this time? Scout for any kind of pylons or whatever is being hidden on the map. And the second gateway this time for Wellmu. Could be a 3-gate. Let's see.
And Wellmu once again, well not once again, sorry, but Wellmu does have a 5-6 second advantage on that side net score, if it means anything at all in this game, by not scouting again with that probe. Whereas Mana did have that position previously. We see the Mothership core straight away here, but an extra Chrono Boost into the Nexus and another one into the Nexus here from Mana too.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see 3-gate from Wellmu. It has been scouted, so it shouldn't really work if he commits to that. But it could be a trickery as well, just showing the Chrono Boost on the Warp Gate, scaring your opponent, and then switch up completely, maybe dropping a Nexus or some kind of tech structure.
Mana hanging around for as long as possible there. Stalker pops out there, and he's already gone. But Mana's chosen 1-gate Twilight.
Is it DTs? It could be DTs, given what he saw. It's like, okay, if you commit to the 3-gate, I will have DT. I will survive at home long enough to get my DTs out, and you will die because you won't have a detection. Unless, well, Musama has the feeling, okay, it's going to be DTs. I drop the Robo anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I don't fully commit, but I drop the Robo.
Nice micro there from Mana hiding in the bush.
Yeah, does he get
Pops
one?
Out.
Yeah, 3 damage.
Yep.
Hooray!
But a funny play from Wellmu here, just doesn't matter what's going on, has chosen this from the get-go. Didn't scout, doesn't care. Probe moving up, which is a fantastic find here by the Mothership core.
Oh my god.
Fantastic find there, and the pylons drop very far away. He's going to have to pull another probe down there. Blink is the choice from Mana. And how well is Wellmu going to execute this? He's believing in himself, otherwise he wouldn't have just gone for this blindly and of course just in the open to what Mana's seen.
And the Stargate as a follow-up. It's not quite a Robo, but it provides you detection as well. But his pylon is so far away, and he didn't send out a second probe.
And all Mana does need is time here, because that blink upgrade is everything in this game. He's got the Photon Overcharge available. He's even got a Sentry popping up now as well. And if Mana gets to blink, and obviously Wellmu's units are on this side of the map in similar numbers, we all know that that's going to heavily favor Mana. Stargate is on the way, though. Maybe if we can squeeze out an Oracle and try to squeeze it into the main base, try to do some damage that way.
Wellmu will get a very good scout with his mothership core, though. While on the other hand, I think there's a probe moving into the main base of Wellmu soon. He sees the Robo, he sees the Twilight Council, but he has to recall.
Oh, wow. That's obviously not going to aid his defense here, and I think that Man is probably going to do the old Classico, leave the mothership core at home in case of any follow-up, and then just go for it. His pylon's been spotted outside and will be cancelled, like Will's with a probe, and funny enough, I think we can call that a slight mistake there from Mana. Just putting a little bit too overly eager, Mana.
Like, pylon as a nexus, like right on the nexus spot.
You definitely could have had it a little bit further back, of course.
Yeah, behind the natural is usually where you want to place it, or maybe at the third.
So it is just going to be a nexus here.
That's a good call. Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah. He made sure that Wellmu has no nexus and that Wellmu can't scout him right now because he's killing the Zealot in the top left and he killed the Pylon. He doesn't know about the Oracle yet, but now he knows with the Pylon spread.
And
beautiful
also
play.
with losing the mothership core as a Protoss player, you got to be like, oh my god, and Mana's just expanding, which I think is, as you said, a good reaction here. Photon overcharge at a good time, and only a single probe is killed today.
Yeah, once again.
And he's ready for the catch here. Mana, he's pulling the stops today.
But the Oracle sees it. He has Blink, of course. Oh, wow.
Mana.
Oh, just think of being in Wellmu's shoes right now. This is horrible. You lose your mothership core for free. You lose the Oracle for free. Your 3-gate did nothing at all.
Yeah.
I mean...
And this guy's got Blink to still go on and harass me a little bit if I'm out of position. So not a good start here for Wellmu. Not a good series for him.
Luckily for him, there's no Pylon nearby, because I think Mana could actually turn on the pressure very, very hard here.
Funny you say that. He's sending out a probe, so I think he may realize he has a chance to do damage here.
It's a little bit late, though, because I think the second Immortal will be finished, and more importantly, the Nexus will be done. So he has the possibility of Photon Overcharge. Picks off the Sentry, though. Very nice.
Mana is starting a Mortal production. He's got no Forge, and we do see that there from Wellmu.
But he has to survive, and that's his main priority. Move command there for a few seconds on Wellmu's Stalkers.
There's the pylon just outside this natural. And Mana's continuing on to blink his way to victory here, potentially. Another Stalker gets picked off. Photon Overcharge is ready, and there is going to be a second Immortal soon.
He has to, he's forcing him to use the Photon Overcharge. You don't really want to use that right now in the phase of the game, because you never know, there might be some kind of Warp Prism around and things like that.
Is Mana going to commit to units here? Yes, he is. 2 sentries get warped in, going to start to cut these units up. And he blinks into the main base. Wellmu did not expect it. He wasn't quite in position. He does turn around, though, and no damage was taken, luckily. Well, as I say that, he does bring a Stalker down to 25 hit points. And he's building units in the Immortal, and 2 other sentries coming down from there as well. Imagine if he gets a force field on the ramp, he blinks in, the army goes up, force field in the ramp.
Yeah, even 2 force fields right next to the Nexus will be able to block off the Immortals and Mana.
Be careful, Wellmu.
Press the all-army key. Everything is coming.
Wellmu, you're out in the open, and 3 force fields come down, and the Immortal is trapped there, and a blink forward it will get picked off, which means 1 Immortal and 3 Stalkers, and Wellmu. It looks like Mana's in fantastic shape to take this series 2-0. He's going to go for it here. The Time Warp is available as well. He catches the second Immortal and just like that. And Mana, wow.
He made it look easy. Just like MMA in the games against Mana. That was some very good PvP. He got a little bit lucky, but that's how it is in PvP, like trapping the probe with the mothership core.
Yeah.
Obviously, Wellmu didn't send out a second one, which really surprised me, because I think if you are on 3-gate with Chrono Boost on the Warp Gate, you have to commit a little bit more. Especially when your mothership core is out in the nowhere as well. Like, you're committed anyways. If the Oracle flies in, you lost the game.
Yeah. Very unfortunate series there for Wellmu, who, finishes his year, strong, I think we can call it. 2 top 8 performances in Season 1 and Season 2, and of course around a 16 finish here in Season 3. And I'm sure we'll see him back next year to compete once again in the World Championship Series. But we are done with Wellmu for this year in the WCS. He will be competing at DreamHack next week, or this weekend as well. So we'll see some more of him before the year finishes up. But it is Liquid Mana who gets a chance to get potential revenge against MMA, gets a chance to play versus Golden, gets a chance to finally, maybe, go through to the round of 8 for the very first time. God damn it, Golden! What are you doing? But yeah, well done to Mana. Very, very solid set of 2 games there from him. Let's hear some words.
Thank you very much, Sean. Yes, it's all right. Mana's just winding me up off camera, as he's prone to do. Very happy, obviously, after that win. Just absolutely flawless play in both maps. And talk us through. Map 1, similar builds. Everything was seen to be fairly even. He was slightly up on upgrades, actually. But the drops, the double immortal drop is what really started to open up the map. What made you think about it? What made you do it?
Because he was looking very greedy. Like when I scouted with my Phoenix and hallucinated Phoenix, he had only like a Zealot and an Immortal, and he started to add up tech. I'm like, okay, he's going to cut corners. It's a good map for macro and so on, so I will do some harassment. He could prevent that because if he makes 1 Phoenix from this target, then it's completely neglected. But well, I saw an opportunity and took it.
Yeah, I mean, Hasselhoff said the same thing. He said 1 Phoenix, and it's all back to even again. Were you surprised?
Not much, because I killed a Sentry, I killed a Stalker in the beginning. The Oracle was kind of annoying, so he had to use a lot of gas to his tech and so on. So additional Phoenix, as much, I mean, it's only 100 gas, you can say, but it's time of the mining of the gas and time of the building of the Phoenix and so on. So it was just not worth it. He had to cut some corners to get back to the game after I had a pretty good opening.
Yeah, definitely, very good opening indeed. Second map, flawless. I mean, just everything that you wanted to go right went right. I mean, could it have gone any better?
I was expecting him to go for the free gate. I think he had free gates, so I defended that rather easily after sniping the probe, which was a little bit lucky, but I know the pathway of the probe. If he could, maybe he could go from the left side, that maybe he could run away, but he didn't, so it was good for me. I did not expect the Oracle though, but I had the Mothership Core. I know there's an opportunity for that, but well, I was not really expecting that. And then I saw he was going for a macro game, and I didn't really want to push it, but I kept on trading very well, and I sniped the Observer, even so he had no vision whatsoever. So I'm like, all right, let's just force field him out and win. Yeah,
it was pretty much towards the end. You were just, it looked even from the game mechanics, it was like, oh, all right, then, well, I'll go and win then if that's what you want to play. There was also a cheeky little pylon that you tried to put. That was very cheeky.
Yeah, that was for the potential Oracle Scout.
Fantastic. I mean, brilliant play, great couple of games. What's the difference? I mean, obviously a different race against MMA and totally different matchup and builds and what have you, but just mentality-wise, you seem much stronger recently.
You know, I've been practicing very efficiently. Maybe not a lot, but very efficiently. I've been thinking about my strategies and so on. And also the win in the tournament, who's the best European, which I'm not the best European. Don't worry. Give me a lot of confidence and a lot of knowledge from the game, especially in the finals versus Lilbo, where we played a very good series and gave me a lot of knowledge. But versus MMA, I was practicing a lot versus Terrans. I was using the strategy that I was using versus MMA, but the Terrans were reacting very differently than MMA. So that's why it looked very convincing. And I just didn't know what to do. He was maneuvering around with his army very, very well. And it was just a brilliant game by MMA, and it's just all his good play that made me lose.
Well, good of you to say so. You've got a chance now at redemption in 2 different ways. You can either have MMA and have revenge from the first game, or you can have Golden for revenge for last season, because it was the same game.
Yeah, I much rather prefer Golden. I know my PvT is not that strong nowadays. I feel Terrans have learned a lot about the matchup, and it's much more difficult for me to play it. And especially it's MMA. He just won Jump Hack Moscow as well, so I much more prefer Golden. And then a revenge for previous season would be nice.
Well, best of luck in that game. Mana is safely through to our final game of the night. He doesn't know who he's going to play yet, though, because the winner's game is coming up next. It's MMA versus Golden, coming right up after the break. Welcome back to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League. Group C is very much underway. If you're only just joining us, how dare you? You're missing some great StarCraft 2. We've had 3 games in Group C. Let's just recap for you where we are in the bracket right now. Our lower bracket game just completed and was an absolute stormer from the pole, the Protoss pole Manor, who makes it through to the final game of the day. He'll play the Golden or MMA, who now play in the upper bracket for the first place in the group and the 6th, hang on, let's do some maths, 5th place in the round of 8. Yeah, there we go. Worked that one out well. Yeah, the 5th place, because we had 4 last week already, yeah. We're both on the same page, Dennis. Yeah, I think we're good at maths and we'll stick to that. So Golden MMA is next. These two are great friends. You heard MMA in the interview say that, you know, they've practiced together, they play together, they've known each other for forever, since the Slayers days. They've both come up through Boxer. They've both been, you know, in Korea as friends, in Europe as friends. But that all goes away now. They have to be enemies. You've done this. You've played players in mouse sports in your time, and you've got to these big games, and you've had to win and kind of put friendships aside. But it's hard, though.
That's how it is in StarCraft 2. Like, it is a 1v1 game, and sometimes you have to win against your friend to advance. I mean, there's still a second chance, right? Whoever loses right now still has a chance against Mana to advance to the round of 8. But yeah, you will play your best, you will have to win. Given that they both know each other very well, it could be very interesting. Maybe some very aggressive build orders by Golden, or MMA trying to blind counter him a little bit, maybe, with some kind of...
Maybe they mix up what they're used to playing and how they're used to playing, or how we're expecting them to play. I mean, you mentioned Golden, he can be super aggressive, he likes to finish it early against Terrans as well. MMA, we know all about how he plays, but we might see some very different style builds between the two of them now.
I mean, nowadays, Terran, they really love to play extremely straight up against Zerg, getting Hellion, maybe a Banshee to be even more safe, or adding 1 or 2 tanks against any kind of aggression. And then they just play their standard game. 2 eBay, 3 CCs, they get their Marine, Medevac production, Widow Mine, and then they get...
Except if you're Bomber.
Well, yeah, that's...
And then you just do crazy stuff.
Yeah, that's he's a special one, right? Well, the Zergs, they try to kill the Terrans early, or they play greedy as well. But it seems to be pretty hard for them sometimes to keep up with the production.
I've got to congratulate you, and this is a very public, I've said to you privately already. For those that aren't aware, I think Hasselhoffs actually has a unique record in esports. You've actually been with mouse sports for over 10 years.
Getting old.
That wasn't where I was going with this, but Apollo's laughing in the background, but that wasn't where I was going. But I honestly, genuinely, I think that's an absolutely astonishing achievement. I really do. 10 years at one esports organisation. I don't know anyone else in esports that's done that.
Yeah, me neither.
But it also means you've had a lot of teammates along the way as well, and you've had to play these guys, friends or otherwise. How do you approach a game like this? If you're MMA or you're Golden and you know exactly how the other guy plays, how do you do it?
Well, as I said, I think... if you lose, it's okay because you lost to a friend. I mean, you always want to win, but it's like...
But mentally, how do you go into the game? Are you still chilled? Are you relaxed? Are you okay with it?
Yeah, you're okay with it.
Yeah?
I think you play a lot of practice games. You're used to playing each other. You might have some tricks in your mind, or you know, like, he can't beat this build. I always do it. I always win. And he told me in practice, don't do it anymore. Things like that could happen. But overall, you're pretty relaxed, I believe. I mean, for MMA, he really wants to go to BlizzCon. So he will play 100%. And Golden, obviously, he wants to show off in the WCS. I think after this year, he might go inactive or something.
Yeah,
as far as I heard.
He said to us a little while back that he's done this year. I mean, he gets to the end of the year. I mean, he's still only a youngster. He's still only 20 years old, but he's done in terms of StarCraft 2 for now. He's going to go into the military, I believe, at the end of the year and do his service. So we might see him back afterwards. We've seen plenty of Korean players do military service and come back afterwards and still do well. So who knows? We might see him in the future, but as far as he's concerned, this is pretty much his last shot at WCS this season. So, you know, I think it's a shame because, you know, he's a great character. It's great to have him in WCS Europe, obviously, but you've got to respect that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And he's a very good Zerg player, but playing against MMA is going to be extremely hard.
Yeah, and could be the only Zerg that we have in the round of 8.
Yeah, the other Zergs, Vortex, TLO, already dropped out in Group B. And
could be.
He's the only one left so far.
And he's still got to win either this game or the next one. Matt, veto-wise. Catalina, Foxtrot, Nimbus and Overgrowth. All right, Overgrowth's gone. All right.
It's already starting.
So we've got Deadwing in here. That's got to be third map. They're not gonna play that second, surely.
It's interesting that it's still in.
Yeah, well,
and it's going to be a second map. And Golden picked it. That's very interesting. So 4-player map picked by the Zerg.
And I sent Swarm hosts.
Really? Okay,
yes.
I was thinking maybe some super aggressive style as well.
Well,
but both is possible.
We've seen Snoop play this kind of ZVT Swarm host style, and not many others have done that.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think he's the only one to pull it off, because he's the master of Swarm host, so he knows even against Terran how you have to play with Swarm host. While some other Zergs really struggle when they try to do it. Even Snoot had some very hard games against Terran when he was transitioning into Swarm host, and they just killed him.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether Golden decides to throw something a bit wild like that. We talked about it, didn't we? You know, maybe they go for something a bit strange. Maybe they make a different map choice. We've got Deadwing in the pool, so
it's the first time in the round of 16.
I think it is the first time we've played it in the 3 days so far. I can't remember it being played so far. If we get there. Because we are. It was second map.
Second map.
It was second map. Yeah.
I
We're
mean,
definitely going to have it in.
Unless the BattleNet shuts down after first map,
Yeah, no, let's swiftly move on very quickly. Thank you very much, Dennis. Who are you going for pick-wise?
MMA.
Yeah, obvious choice, I think. Okay, let's go and find out whether our commentary team agree and see what they think of the very interesting map choice. It's the wonderful old pairing, of course, of our WCS favourites. It's Apollo and Kalaris.
All right, the highlight of the day is upon us. The winners match here between our two Koreans fighting for that first round of 8 spot from this group, as it's Golden going up against your golden boy.
MMA, he is a golden boy of mine, and I just pointed him and stared him down as he walked to his booth there, if you noticed that. I'm actually very much so looking forward to this, but obviously I really think MMA is going to do well in advance in this group, but I took a decision to go for Golden over but I'm definitely feeling Golden for this one.
Okay, talk us through that. Because that's, I mean, a lot of people are pegging MMA here, right?
Everyone's pegging MMA to go first place. If everyone's pegging MMA, which they are in the Fantasy League, and I've picked Golden, if Golden wins, I'm first place. If I picked MMA along with everyone else, I'm not. So that's one reason. Second reason is Golden has such a good round of 32 set of games against Terrans, where he plays so good. He showed us aggressive tactics that finished off games early. I think it was Crass that he killed very easily.
Yes.
And then he showed us long games against Daishi as well. So I feel that Golden is very much so all-round in this matchup. He can be aggressive, he can play the long game, and he can play multiple styles as well, whether it be Roach Hydra or Ling Muta Baneling. Despite MMA being a god versus Zerg since forever and his ability to drop, harass, multitask, and be able to build up a big army, I really feel Golden in this one.
And when it comes back to that Daishi series, I kind of agree with you. I mean, that series against Daishi was brilliant, absolutely brilliant to watch. I think probably highlight of the round of 32.
I mean, look at this guy's stats versus Terran.
Yeah, it's actually pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous. 81%. He's shown such good form across that matchup. I mean, he's 13-3 in this matchup in the WCS system, which is his best stat across all 3 matchups.
Yeah, definitely feeling it here. He's lost 2 games against MMA in the past. One was a random online tournament, and then one was at Munich Cup, I think it was called, a couple months back, which was actually a LAN in Munich, and it was a cup and tournament.
Whoa, okay.
Sick explanation.
Yep.
MMA is definitely the favored here, for sure. You know, he's got great stats as well. He's a WCS champion. He's a 7-time StarCraft champion. He's coming off the back of the DreamHack or DramHack Moscow championship as well. So I mean, I look at it as MMA is favored 70-30, but I believe in that 30.
I think, you know, I think
it's
a nice bet to take. It's a nice bet to take. That 71% is across 17 wins and 7 losses in the WCS system overall. So very, very strong record for MMA, who is a previous champion in this tournament. And he's looking for more points. This is so important for him to get the win, to guarantee those points, to get to BlizzCon, because it would do massive amount. He's like 67% right now, and then if he wins this group as a whole, it jumps up something dramatic.
Like 85, somewhere around there. So I mean, this is a massive, massive game right now for MMA. It's going to relieve so much pressure going into DreamHack next weekend.
Huge.
If he loses today, he would be looking at
you know, a final, a top 4 at DreamHack. Winning here is just the easier way. He's helped himself at DreamHack Moscow. He can do it again today.
All right, let's get into it. Game number 1 as we have spawning up to the top right, the winner of our first series of the day. Representing Alien Invasion, it is Golden.
I believe in him.
And down to the south, a lot of people believe in this guy. It's our blue Terran representing Team Acer. It is MMA.
Who has showed excellent form today. Excellent play. Of course, coming off the back of a DreamHack victory. What do you expect? He played this map against Snoot, if you remember, in the DreamHack semi-finals. Or semi-finals? I think it was semi-finals. Yeah, it was. Where he 2-racks 2 games in a row. So MMA, like Golden, has the ability to be super aggressive to end it fast 2 games in a row, or he can play it out long. There's no problem with that for MMA. He's been training, or was training, specifically to take mana to the long games today, as he mentioned in a broadcast earlier. He's not afraid to do that here as well, if need be.
Well, he's already setting himself up for an add-on on this barracks, as the positioning is nicely tucked in.